Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to another episode of Dogman Encounters Radio. I'm Vic Cundiff, and I'll be your host for the show. Tonight's guest is Marc Strum. Marc, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Marc, please give us a brief bio on yourself.
My name is Marc Strum. I was raised in a township when I was a kid. It was very rural. It wasn't grown up whatsoever. And I went to school there, and that's where I had this encounter, which has affected me most of my life. I'm 61 now, and it still bothers me. Very unnerving even to this day. Once this happens to anybody, you're going to realize you're not the top of the food chain. And it will affect you in ways you've never dreamed. But I hope this reaches out and touches other people, that they're just aware and they don't have their heads buried in the sand like most people do. There's more out there than meets the eye. And once you become aware of it, it's like, actually I say I had a 98 Jeep, and everywhere I looked I saw a 98 Jeep. If you're aware of it, you can at least stay clear of it. And that's all I have to say about that.
In the pre-interview, we talked about how, in a way, it's a curse that you had that encounter that you had when you were 10. But I also mentioned the fact that maybe it is a godsend that you had it in another way. Now that you know that they're out there because of that encounter you had, in a way that does give you an advantage because you know to look out for them, you know not to do certain things that people who have no clue that they're out there wouldn't even know about.
Absolutely. If I go out in the woods or something, I will not wear bright clothes because that's like wearing a meal ticket sign on me. And if it's thick underbrush that it's very hard to move through, I will not go in it. Because if you can't see 3 or 4 feet in front of you, or you don't know what's creeping up behind you, you stay out of thick underbrush or thick pine trees or whatnot, because you don't know what's below it. Something could be in the trees. You don't know. Drop down on top of you. You always have to keep a clear view all the way around you and be aware of your surroundings. If you're not aware of your surroundings and you're focused on, oh, look at the birdies, well, you're looking for trouble. You could drop into a ditch, or something could jump up on top of you, walk into a bear, or walk into one of these things. And you don't want to walk into one of these things, I'm telling you. Because your pants will get wet real quick, and you won't know what to do. Because you'll jump 2 feet up, 2 feet sideways, and probably leave brown streaks for the rest of your life. You have to be aware of your surroundings. I don't care if you're in a suburban neighborhood and there's woods near you. You have to be aware of what's in your woods and look around in the tall grass. Just be aware. You don't have to be afraid, but be aware. That's even walking down the street at night. Listen, stop, look. Listen to the animals. If everything goes quiet, you don't hear any noise from anything, something's going on. That's a good indicator. I've heard that a couple of times. The hackles in the back of my head stood up, and I was gone. Because when things get quiet, something's going on. You can usually feel, if you've ever been into a place, you feel like somebody's staring at you, you turn around and there's somebody staring at you. That's another indicator. Use your intuition. But don't go out there and walk around like, oh, nothing's going to happen. Anything can happen, especially when you're out in the woods. Anything. But you have to take notice of your surroundings.
I mentioned to you in the pre-interview that not long ago, a lady in Cincinnati saw a dog man within the city limits. If she can see a dog man within the city limits of a city that large, then where can't they go? When you were a kid, before you had that encounter at the age of 10, what kind of things did you enjoy doing that you weren't able to do after you had that encounter?
Playing army men, going down the woods, shooting BB guns, going out at night, roaming around the neighborhood, playing ninjas, sneaking up on people, scaring people. But after that happened, I was scared to go out at night because when it started getting dusk, I was in the house because I was afraid something's going to be sneaking up on me as I'm sneaking up on somebody else. And it's affected me even to this day after 50 years. I don't like going out at night when it's dark or moonless because I don't know what's around me, and I can't hear like those things can hear, and I cannot see like they can do, and I cannot move like they do. I'm like a clumsy baby out in the woods, as most of us are. We don't have the senses they do. They could be right next to you. And for some reason, I get the feeling they just love to scare the out of us. And they can do it and get away with it. And I don't want to take it to the next level. I don't want to wind up being a chew toy for something like this. It scares the heck out of me because I am aware of it and I know they're there. I might see another one, who knows? But I don't want to put myself in the position to do that. I got gray hair already. I don't want any more gray hair because of these things. I just want to be aware. I've lost a lot of things. I will not go out to federal parks and camp out or anything, especially in a tent. That thing comes along with a claw, it slices that tent open, drag my butt out, and I'm gone. So when I go out somewhere, if I'm going out somewhere in the country or something, I got a shotgun in the back trunk, an assault shotgun with lead slugs and buckshot and silver slugs. You name it, it's in there. And I'm locked and loaded. And if I start feeling something funky, I'm out of there. But I won't go alone. I will not go camping alone. Because you can just disappear and nobody knows, oh, what happened to him? Well, here's all his gear, but where's he? Oh, we don't know. Because I don't put anything past these creatures, these dogmen, whatever you want to call them, whatever they are. They know the woods better than we do. That's their habitat. Now, when I was a kid and this thing came to where I lived, it was pretty rural. But I think as we expand outward into their habitat, they're getting more and more aggressive coming into our habitat because we're messing with their food supply. How long is it going to be before we become their food supply? As they're coming into cities and stuff, you have a lot of darkened alleyways, a lot of darkened places for them to hide during the daytime and hold up. In Cincinnati, walking down a darkened street at night, subway, alleyway, who knows? They could be hiding there. And they come out, and you could be at the right place at the wrong time. And you don't hear many people talking about them because, oh, you're nuts, you're crazy. I heard that all the time when I was a kid. I tried to tell that. And my father, when my parents came home, I was home alone when this happened to me. My parents come home, my mother gave me because I had a .22 rifle locked and loaded. A lot of good .22 rifles do, but I was a kid. My father just kind of looked at me like, okay, what can I say? These things are nothing to toy with. I never heard of a Dogman in '65. And it took years and years till the internet, till I started figuring it out. I just thought it was me. Or, oh, you saw a werewolf. Oh, what's a werewolf? I don't know. These things ain't werewolves. They're something else. But they're smart. They're just as intelligent as we are. I don't want to meet anymore. And I hope to God none of you ever meet one. But what I want you to do is just be aware. If they're in the cities, they're coming into cities, you better be aware. Stay to lighted areas. They seem not to like light. They don't like being seen. That's what gets them PO'd. I don't want to be scared anymore. I've been scared enough. It's affected my life in a very negative way. But I'm coming out of it. I'm starting to understand and control that fear into a respect of what they are. I'm trying to figure out what they are. If I understand the nature of everything, then I understand the thing. So I'm trying to study them and figure them out. What they are, where they come from. I don't know. I just know they're real.
I'm not sure if it's more unnerving, the idea of running into one of these things in an urban environment, walking down an alley, or some other place like that in the city at night, than being out in the dark woods and running into one. The idea of that is just so over the top. Having said that, Mark, Let's get into this encounter that you had. Please tell us why you were at the location of your encounter, and also give us every last detail that comes to mind.
Well, it was approximately 1965 when I go back. I was still in grade school. I was approximately 10. My parents went off shopping, and kids being kids, 10 years old. I don't want to go home. I'm going to go with you. I'm a big boy. So they left me home. And I'm watching TV, doing kid stuff, playing with my G.I. Joe dolls, which was a big thing at the time. And I had the idiot box on watching TV, and I'm just sitting there minding my own business. It's dark out, maybe about 8, 9 o'clock at night. And it's quiet, so I'm just sitting in the living room. Well, I live in the trailer, and I'm in the living room. There's a combination with kitchen. You go down the hallway, and there's one bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and then the master bedroom. There's a bathroom way before that. But anyway, I'm sitting there in the living room. I hear this rapping coming from the back bedroom on the window. And I ignore it for a little bit, and I hear it again. Torrey, what the heck is this? So I get up out of the chair that I'm spinning in, and I walk down the hallway, and the curtains are drawn. And I hear a rap again. I open the curtains, and this thing is looking at me. And it looked like a giant wolf. I mean, I didn't know what to do. And it had a grayish black fur. It was enormous. The head was enormous. The teeth, I'll never forget the teeth. They were enormous, and they were a whitish color that went up to a yellowish color, stained yellowish. Sounded like a tartar, like they've been used a lot, like tartar color. And it had like a pinkish tongue, and I looked at the eyes, and they were bright red. And oh, man. And the thing just let out this low growl, and it hit me, and it's like, I didn't know what to do. I was frozen. And I looked at it, and it had ears that shot up on either side of his head that looked like a timber wolf. And on top of each ear, there was 3 hairs. But it felt like it hated me. For some reason, it hated me. It was full of malice. Like, if it wanted to kill me, it was going to kill me. And it just stared at me and stared at me and stared at me. And I looked down, and the thing was standing up. It wasn't leaning, it was standing up. And it pulled his head back like it was going to smash the glass with his snout. And I took off running. That fast, I bolted. We had rolling doors in the bedroom. I rolled the door in the bedroom. Now I think about it, it's funny. It kind of went through that trailer like a Cracker Jack box, went through that door like cardboard. I ran down, went in my bedroom, grabbed a .22 rifle. I had a Remington tubular loaded it up with .22s, ran down, jumped in the chair, and just sat there, frozen. I wouldn't look out the windows. I was scared to death of looking at any windows around me. Probably looking at me, I don't know. But I just stared at the wall. I wasn't paying attention to TV. I wasn't doing anything. Then after a while, my parents came in. My mother was looking at me like, "What are you doing with a gun?" I saw kids stumbling around. No. And she gave me a royal about having a gun. Well, I said something to my father. He didn't say anything. So, okay. I didn't sleep all that night. At all, man. This thing scared me. I'll never forget it. It's burned into me. But I felt that it took something from me. I feel like I'm linked to it. Like it somehow did something that I'm linked to it that, how can I explain it? It could have tore me up if it wanted to. But it didn't for some reason. It let me for some reason, but it took something from me. But anyway, the next morning I went up the street to, at that time, my best buddy, Bobby. I said, Bobby, you got to see this. Well, it had rained that night. And he come down and, look at the tracks. Holy Christmas. And they were bigger than my hands put together. Standing at the window. And this thing must have been 8 foot tall to look in that window, because this trailer was up on stilt things, on cinder blocks. And to look halfway through, it must have been 8 foot. So we followed the tracks down towards the woods. And all of a sudden, bing, they stopped. And we're looking around where there's trees around us. So we never paid it no mind. Maybe it jumped in a tree or something. I don't know. But every time I went down in those woods, the hackles on the back of my head would stand up, and I was gone. And at nighttime, you would never catch me down there. It was like, for some reason, something was down there. And then years later, I came back to that place. It was called Trench's Woods. I still feel like there was something watching me, and I would never go out in those woods at night. And even at night when I lived there, I would never go out in the backyard at night. And I was grown then. And even to this day, at 60 years old, I will not go outside at night in a rural area without having some kind of firearm on me. But that thing was the biggest wolf thing I've ever seen in my life. And it could have just chewed me in half. It was gigantic. And it was a monster dog. And the head on it was the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. It makes a German Shepherd or a normal timber wolf look like a pup. And it was just the feeling of it that it radiated was so evil. It was like it was saying to me, I'm the king of the mountain and you're nothing. Stay away from me, or I'll hurt you. And to this day, it has affected me, so I'm very well aware of my surroundings at all times. And if you're traveling at night in cars, stay away from real dark wooded areas. Be very aware. Because these things are big enough to turn your car over, do whatever they want to do. And I get the feeling that they're just like people. You have good, you have bad. You got some that just like to tear your butt up. They're just like people. But you just don't know what they are or what their intent is. And I don't trust them. But see, you want to go the other direction, please. Well, that's about all I can say about the darn thing.
What shape did the footprints have, Mark? Were they round or more hominid in shape?
Oh, they were round. They looked like a giant wolf print. They were bigger than both my little hands together. I mean, they were enormous. Then they had claws on them, too. You could see the claws. And they were really spaced far apart, like it walked on two legs. They weren't like a dog walk. They had a stride to them.
You're saying instead of left, right, right, like a dog or a wolf, you're saying that it had a left, right, left pattern.
Right, just like a human. It had a stride.
Ew. Did you ever come back after the fact, measure it with a ruler or a tape measure to see exactly how big those prints were?
Hey, I was 10 years old. I was too scared to go back there. I stayed away from that thing.
Good idea.
And I was only 10 years old. My buddy was 10 years old. And we knew something screwy going on. We stayed away from that area for a while. We went camping down there one time, and we were on a motorcycle, a Honda 90, a red Honda 90. It had a little luggage rack on the back. It took us 3 trips to take everything down there in those woods. We built a campfire, and we started hearing something real heavy moving around us, making noise. Well, it took us only 1 trip to bring everything back, and with me sitting on top of everything. We weren't taking any chances. We were gone. You know, we would go down there and play all day during the daytime where we could see everything, but ain't no way. I felt like something was watching me, but I couldn't get through those woods fast enough. Sometimes it would be nice in there, and everything would stop moving. Crickets would stop cricking, and it would be flat, dead. And I said, "Oh, here it comes." And the fear would just come out of me. You know, you could just boo when I my pants. Pardon my French. But that's why I avoid real thick areas that I can't move in. Or, you know, I'm aware of it. You know, even you go into parks and cities and stuff where there's a lot of thicket and stuff. I keep an eye out. I have to. It's not only for me, it's for, you know, if there's kids in there playing stuff, I'm looking out for the kids and stuff. Because if I spot them, I'm going to get the kids out of there. If they think I'm nuts or not, so be it. I don't know what these things' intent is. Maybe it's a good thing I did see this thing, because now I'm aware. Maybe I can help somebody else or save somebody else bacon. Like I said, I'm 60. If I got to go down, I'm going to go down like a good old Viking, sword in hand, because kids are precious to me. I don't have any of my own, but I love the little buggers. But I don't want to see anybody get hurt by these things. Ignorance will kill you. So maybe it's a good thing. That's how I look at it. But I'll never forget coming out of the woods on that motorcycle. 3 trips down, 1 trip back. That was pretty good. And I kept looking behind me as we're getting out of the woods. I'm on that motorcycle. And the woods are called French's Woods. I don't know what it's like now. It's probably all grown up. But I think this thing was passing through. Sometimes it do. But it's just a scary thing. And then I just only recently started researching it, found that other people had the same thing, because when that happened to me, nobody knew what it was. There wasn't no internet. There was nobody talking about it. If you talked about it, you're a nut. You're a screwball. Even today, people think I'm crazy when I say something about it, so I keep my mouth shut. Because they don't understand. What people don't understand, they don't want to understand. But people don't understand, they're afraid of. Well, I want to understand, so I'm not afraid anymore. But you have to be careful. Whoever's listening to this, you got to be careful. In the cities, out of the cities, you think humans are predators? These things make humans look like toys. You can take your worst nightmare and compound it 10 times, 100 times. These things make the worst bad guy look like a puppy. And they come in all different sizes and shapes. Some are smaller, some are bigger. I don't want to see the giant ones. But that's the way that works out. So I'm just kind of like laying back and trying to learn as much as I can now. But what else can I say? But if you see one, it's going to affect you for a long time. And the best thing you can do is find somebody to talk to about it. Otherwise, you're going to toss and turn like I did for 50 years. And that's no fun either, and you're going to hold that fear inside you. You're going to be scared to go out dark at night because you're kind of linked to them. And they're linked to you. I don't know what they do to you, but they do something to you. You know, some kind of link, some kind of fear. But when you realize you're not the top of the food chain, that's really sobering. Because you're not as great as you thought you were.
What do you think about the idea of running into a Bigfoot as compared to running into one of these things, Mark?
I'd rather run into a Bigfoot. I can deal with a Bigfoot. I can't deal with these things. These things are like a nightmare. A Bigfoot is basically, you know, to me, it's like they can do damage to you, but they'll throw rocks and stuff at you and chase you off, I guess. I don't know. I never met a Bigfoot. But I think these dogmen are more primeval. They come out of your nightmares. The thing, caveman stuff, when you huddle around your fires in prehistory, afraid of everything that moved in the dark. that just danced out of firelight. These things come right out of your nightmares, out of your fear. You know, it's like when a dog curls back its teeth and growls at you, a big dog. That sends willies down your back. Now you compound that with the Dogman, he does that, he growls at you. It sends terror right down to your soul. You have no chance. It's like you're going to get it, and you don't know how you're going to get out of it. You have no hope, period. That's what it feels like to me. But a Bigfoot, you can get out of it. Because to me, a dog by himself is okay, but I don't feel they run by themselves. Dogs run in packs. Do these things run in packs? That's my question. I can deal with one. I can't deal with a pack. I'm an hors d'oeuvre. That's simple.
Because of how your encounter played out there, Mark, it does point to the fact that that Dogman just had terrorizing you on its mind. It didn't want to actually hurt you. If it wanted to hurt you, it would have broken into that trailer like you mentioned and done whatever it wanted to do to you. I don't know why they get such a big kick out of terrorizing people, but it sure does seem like they do. When you're talking about your encounter, that reminded me of an encounter that I spoke with an eyewitness about from Alabama. When he was a kid in the early 70s, he was asleep back in his bedroom in this very rural area where his family lived. The window was open because it was a hot summer night. I think he had just fallen asleep when this thing reached through that window, right through that screen, grabbed him by the ankle and started pulling. Well, when he woke up and started thrashing, it let go. As soon as it let go, he jumped out of bed, ran up the hallway, and jumped in bed with his mom. I don't think his dad was home at the time. Now that Dogman or Bigfoot, whatever it was, he had previously seen a Dogman just outside of his house, so that's what I think it probably was. Either that same Dogman coming back, or maybe another one that had been running with that previous one coming back to do that to him. But it's clear it had a hold of his ankle. He was a boy at the time. If it wanted to hurt him, it could have snatched him right out that window by his leg and had its way with him. But it didn't. It let go of his ankle after it had terrorized him and let him go. So that Dogman must have had terrorizing him on its mind. Why they like to do that, I never will understand.
Well, maybe they have a very strong sadistic streak, or maybe they feed off of fear. That's a possibility too. Because you don't do something if you're not getting something out of it. That's how I look at it. These things are getting something out of scaring the hell out of kids. Kids are very emotional. They put off a lot of energy. So who knows? Or maybe they're just very sadistic creatures that like to terrorize. And they do it because they can get away with it. But it seems to me that they're very sneaky when they do it. They do it to people or kids and people that are in out-of-the-way places where nobody else sees them very much. So that's what I think. Who knows?
They are really good at what they do. There was another incident, actually there have been several incidents like this that I've been made aware of and spoken with eyewitnesses about. One boy was in his room late one night when all of a sudden he heard this sound at his window. Now mind you, he was in a second-story bedroom. He's in bed, hears this tapping on his window, goes over, parts the drapes, looks out. Here's this Dogman that's clinging to the side of his wall, looking in, grimacing at him, kind of snarling without making any sound. That Dogman could have easily broken through that glass and snatched that boy up, but it didn't. It seems like, just like with that Alabama incident, once the deed was done, that boy was scared within an inch of his life. The Dogman was happy and left.
Like I said, maybe they feed off that fear. They get their jollies off. Who knows? I don't want to see him again, and next one that does it to me and when is going to get a face full of buckshot.
You just mentioned buckshot. That reminds me of an interesting tidbit about something you discovered after you had that encounter, and consequently after your dad passed away. You were going through his ammo and you discovered something very interesting.
Right. When I said that, when I told my father what happened was he was from North Carolina, Rocky Mount, and he used to tell me a lot of ghost stories and werewolf stories when he was a kid. And he saw a lot of crazy stuff in Okefenokee Swamp. And he talked about werewolves and whatnot. And, he passed away, and I was going through his things, and I came across a box of shotgun shells, and I said, these have wax on top of them. I wonder what the hell's inside of them. So I opened them up, and there was silver pellets in them. I thought, oh, what the heck is this? They're 12 gauge. And I dumped them out, and it looks like he had taken silver coin, taken heat to them, and melted them and dropped them into a pot of water, scooped them back up and put them in these shotgun shells and just put them away for safekeeping. Well, I never thought anything about it. I emptied out the shotgun shells. Now, and thinking about it, well, maybe he knew something that I didn't, but he never really talked about it, because after I told him about my encounter, he didn't say anything to me, but it's like he looked at me, but he kind of like knew something, but I guess he didn't want to tell a 10-year-old kid anything about it at the time. But I found it very interesting, so to this day I have taken some silver myself and loaded up some shotgun shells, just in case. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That's how I feel. And I know sooner or later, possibility, I hope not, I may run across them again, but I'm not looking forward to it, and I'm not hoping for it. Because these things are kind of your worst nightmare. You know, you can sit there, you can laugh, you can sit in your room, and you can chuckle, you can do whatever you want to, but once you see one, you don't want to see one, if you get my drift.
You mentioned earlier in the interview that you're convinced that you're going to have another encounter, or at least you touched on that idea. I know from the pre-interview that you do, in fact, believe that at some point down the road you are going to run into another one. Let's talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Well, I feel that the one that I saw took something from me, but I also feel that I'm linked to it somehow. I know it's there. It knows I'm there. That's why I stay out of the woods and stuff. That's why I'm trying to learn as much as I can. It's just, it's something you can't put your finger on, but you know. It's like, you know, when somebody's going to call you on the phone, they call you on the phone. It's just one of those feelings. You know they're there, and they know you're there. It's hard to put your finger on it. You know, it's like I'm not looking for it, but I'm preparing for it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think there's more to these things than meets the eye. I think they're just as smart as we are, and smarter in some other aspects. If the situation is right and everything falls into place, yeah, I will see another one. But I'm not going to be that scared little boy again. I'll be a scared man, but at least I'll have it under control and know what to do. I'll try to get out of the situation any way I can. Period. But now I'll be looking at it not as a dog man, not as a wolf man, but as a life form. That's how I'm going to try to look at it and get out of its way. Because they can be anywhere. You could be in a rural setting. You could be in a city. You could be anywhere. These things could be anywhere. They could be down the sewers. They could be down your wells. They could be down the subways, trains. You don't know. They're expanding. We're encroaching in their territory, so they're going to expand outward. They got to eat too. And they're just as curious about us as we are about them, I think. But they're more dangerous than we ever dreamed of. More dangerous than we are. And they're smarter too. That's how I feel about the whole thing. I don't want to be chasing them down. I want them to leave me alone. But I just have that feeling. It's a feeling. That's all I can tell you. It's a feeling. Right, wrong, or indifferent. It's more like a knowing, a feeling and a knowing.
A lot of people have the idea that a Dogman encounter lasts for maybe 10 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe a minute at the most, but here we're talking about an incident that occurred over 50 years ago to you. We talked about how it still gets you so shook up to relive it. It's not a situation where you have it for 10 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever. A Dogman encounter lasts a lifetime, unfortunately. Are you dealing with it any better now that we've gone over all the things that we've gone over?
Oh, I'm dealing with it 100% better now, because I know I'm not the only one. Before, when in the 60s and the whatnot, before I started talking to you, I just went round and round in my head because everybody thought I was crazy. I had all these questions and no answers kept coming back. All I heard was, it was a werewolf. It was a werewolf. Well, if it was a werewolf, and how come? Well, I don't know. But now I'm starting to see that other people are having the same thing. And if I just see it, it's one thing. But when it starts repeating a pattern, it's something else. It's leaving tangible evidence. So it settles me. So if we can get together and start talking about it, because I think it leaves some kind of a stress syndrome. You have an internal stress about it because you're always uptight because you're afraid you're going to see it again. But once you find that other people have seen it and it comes out, then the stress lessens because you're not alone. For the fact that other people are going through it too. And you're not crazy.
Since our first conversation, Mark, there were a lot of things that really impressed me about you. One of the things that's impressed me the most is your concern for the safety and well-being of others. Several times in that conversation, just like several times in this interview tonight, you've mentioned concerns about the safety of others, looking out for kids who might run into these things and other types of situations where people might encounter them and get hurt. I can't tell you how impressed I am by that fact about you.
Well, I'm going to dig in as much as I can about these things and, find others that know about them, that know more than I do. And I'll face my fear and start sticking my heads on the woods with others to figure out what's going on and what exactly do they want or what they are, and learning more and more about them so others don't have to pay the price. I'll be going on 61. I got about 10 more years in me, so I'm not really too scared of it. If I'm going to go, I'm going to go. They can't do much more to me. They've already scared me witless since I was a kid. There's not much more they can do to me. But if I can enlighten other people as to what to do and what not to do, it's just like grizzly bears or wolves. If you know their habits, you can figure them out. If they're just as smart as you, or what what they can do and what they can't do, then you have at least something to build on. You have a database. But I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Like, you explained to me once that people have been hurt by them. I don't want to see anybody, kids, people disappear from what I've been reading and from what I've been watching. People do disappear, so something's going on. Now, what if it's your brother, your little kids, your daughters? You're going to pay for that for the rest of your life. If you can stop that with just one person, and these things snatch them just for ha-has and did make them disappear, and you can stop it and make them disappear, it's all the better. Because you're helping them out, and you're making people more aware to what's out there. People don't want to believe what they can't see, touch, and feel. And they see these pictures and stuff, say, aha, look about this, it's a real monster. And people hook up stuff all the time. They don't know what to believe. So it's better to be safe than sorry, even if you're unsure about something. Give it the benefit of the doubt. Don't just instantly discredit everything. Give it the benefit of the doubt. Just like dinosaurs are extinct. Well, in the 50s, they pulled up a coelacanth. It's supposed to be extinct. Prehistoric fish. All right? Now they're talking about megalodons and everything. Who knows what's out there? We don't. Anything's possible. You don't know. So don't discredit anything. Say, well, it's possible. Even though I haven't seen it, it's possible. Just like quantum physics. They look at human beings like, we're solid. No, we're not. We're energy. Millions and millions of stars put together. We're energy. We're not solid. We're energy. On a quantum physics level, anything's possible. Start opening your minds and opening your eyes to what could be, the possibilities. That's all I have to say about it. And if I can help somebody else that's gone through this and talk to them, I feel better about it. I've done something. Instead of sitting there crying about it, I've done something and left somebody in a better space. That's how I feel about it. And put knowledge out to people. It's important that people know what these things are because they see them, oh, I saw a dogman. Oh, you're nuts. Well, I see a dogman. He's 6 inches from my nose. Well, then it's too late. I believe you now. Well, it's too late. Or my kid got ripped up or my dog got tore up. It's too late. Start opening your eyes and keep your eyes to your surroundings, not only for yourself, but for your kids and loved ones. You don't know what's out there. You could have a bear in town. You could have anything in town. Be aware. Most people lost the instincts to be aware of the surroundings. They're dead with their instincts. Take that extra minute to look around you and look. And at nighttime, look around you. Listen and look. If things are making noise around you at nighttime, cool. If they get real quiet, take a second look. Something's going on. That's all. But most important thing, look out for each other. These dogmen ain't looking out for you, I'm telling you that much. And they're good at it. But I don't want to get chewed up. I don't want you to get chewed up. But don't go out in the woods looking for them by yourselves or with a group, with a camera. You're asking for trouble. And you will find it eventually. And it's not the kind of trouble you want to find. Not with these things. If you want to talk about them, learn about them, go to somebody who knows about them and discuss it. Don't go out in those woods digging for them because you might disappear. Oh, well, so-and-so disappeared. Or you might get chewed up. It's not the way to be.
Those are a lot of good words there, Marc. I hope that by coming out publicly tonight and revealing the details of that encounter you had, I hope that really helps you get over the effects you've had to deal with over the past 50 years. Hopefully, it's going to be a lot easier to think about and to deal with as a result. Having said that, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show tonight and doing that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care of yourself and care about the people around you. If there's anything to do for you in the future, let me know.
I really appreciate that. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. If you've had a Dogman encounter and you'd like to speak with me about it, whether in private or on the show, you can reach me at contact@dogmanencounters.com. I'd love to hear from you.